Calling the meeting of the Public Works Committee of the RTM to order at 7:35. We have 10 members present. We have a full quorum for conducting business. First order of business on the agenda is to adopt the minutes from our last meeting. Do I have a motion? Patrick, do I have a second? Ian, any comments, questions, additions or deletions from the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting the minutes from last meeting? The minutes are adopted unanimously. The second order of business on our agenda this evening is the consideration of the budget. We go into the full budget meeting of the RTM later on in May. And so tonight, what we're going to do is consider each of the elements of the budget that affect the Public Works Committee, of which I believe there are 7. I lost count. And so with that, I distributed to you all the specific operating and capital budgets for the Public Works Department, for the Sewer Commission, and for the Parking Authority, as well as the operating budget for the Great Island Infrastructure. And then we have a 6-year capital plan that was also distributed. So those are the elements that we'll be considering tonight. With that, Mark, can I hand over to you? And I'll put up any documents on the screen that would be helpful to you or to any of us as we look through it.
Okay, I'll give you a heads up. I'm going to start with capital simply because that's the order it's in my documents.
Okay.
Okay. And I didn't bring them out, so we're going to keep this simple.
Okay, and this is not.
There you go. You're up. Can you make that for me?
So I'm
operating. So I'm going to defer to Mark and I'll help.
Can you access the capital on? You got time. I'm going to for about 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Okay. And when Jeff gets them up there, I'm going to go over the items as they were discussed in 2 different Board of Finance meetings. So I have a combination of notes. So let's see. Townwide paving is relatively flat relative to last year's budget. We all know in this committee that's the paving's done on a 20-year cycle. Rehabbing existing roads, no new roads planned. This committee's favorite topic, sidewalks. Let's see. There was a lot of discussion at first budget meeting by the Board of Finance talking about how the sidewalk capital items were arrived at. The total budget this year is $1 million versus $500,000 last year. I'll get into the 2 components. Some of the dialogue that took place had to do with the formation, which has since happened, I believe, of the Sidewalk Advisory Committee, which was launched. There was discussion about it being made up of a combination of volunteers, professional consultants, Ed Gentile, adjunct was the term used, and Board of First Selectman ex officio. The traffic authority is going to be consulted. One of the driving factors is walkability in town as a major initiative. This committee will come up with priorities for future projects. Is what was discussed. In the interim, Public Works has a list of projects that we have for this year. I don't believe that list includes any new material sidewalks for this year. And then with all sidewalk projects, ADA considerations are being taken into account. The current ones being considered, and of course, future projects. So getting into the numbers, and they said $1 million budget for this year. 250,000 of that is for new sidewalks in areas that are heavily traveled or missing sidewalks. I think those are probably coming off of Ed's in this list. Let's see. Okay, and then there's 750,000 for planned systematic rehabilitation. I got that backwards. 250,000 for new sidewalks. I did say that. And a portion of that.
Okay.
A portion of that's related to, I'll call it the new PIAC committee and starting the design and engineering costs related to that. So the actual, I got the sense, in fact, more than the sense it was stated, it's unlikely that any new sidewalks will come out of that recommendation of that committee and actually be constructed, but there may be some money spent related to engineering design of new sidewalks. That leaves $750,000.
So just to clarify, then we wouldn't expect $250,000 worth of sidewalks to be poured during the coming year. We'd expect something less than that because a piece of the 250 for new is going to be used for consulting for the longer range.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
I suspect, having been on some committees, depends how fast this committee works and can get results, but that's my understanding.
Thank you for clarifying.
If I may,
Unless the new sidewalks were already in the works, where the decision and the engineering and the planning for had already been then those would come out of that. I don't think there's much. There might be
Exactly.
very little, but I don't expect from the committee's work that there will be any recommendations before year end.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
The duration of the committee is, it has to conclude its work by December 31st,
Okay.
because it loses,
yeah, that's the.
it would then have to be renewed. So it doesn't have an authority. It's purely an advisory committee to the Board of Selectmen. So any conclusions that they come up with have to be finalized before year end.
Okay. But that doesn't prevent if Ed has a new sidewalk he wanted to pour, we're using some of the 250,000 for new sidewalks or new sidewalks that may be.
Correct.
If they
Because
can
it's
engineer
ready,
the design and are ready to go.
It's a lump
So
sum.
no different than prior years, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah, right. Yeah, no, I mean, this doesn't naturally happen. Like it's got to have the prep work and all that stuff. So. Thanks.
So the 750,000 is for plan systematic rehabilitation of existing sidewalks. I think that's an increase from last year. The DPW will be using the existing sidewalk evaluation list and the handicap ramp inspection list, which was referenced as being updated about 2 years ago to target specific areas. All goes as planned. At the first meeting I attended, listened to it, and Ed referenced that it all goes as planned. There should be a balance remaining of 90,000 that could possibly be carried over. At the end of the year. The question was posed by someone on Board of Finance. Could they spend 750,000? There's been talk about in the past about not being able to get contractors, et cetera. It made a comment about expecting to spend that down to about 90,000. Portion, I guess, wasn't spent down last year. Next item on my list here is, I do have it up there, Jeff, thank you. Is the harbor channel dredging. There's 2 million budgeted for that. I've got some additional comments on that, but that is an estimate for now. And that's an estimate, if I go by memory, based on initial soiling samples that the sediment was clean, or this is a quote green project, which means that the material could be dumped into Long Island Sound. That doesn't mean that as the project progresses that a future testing will compromise that decision. Things change from there. So 2 million for that. I think that's the largest item on there.
Yes.
Yes. Bridges. The bridge at Camp Avenue is funded at 120,000. Design and repair. The issue there is scour. The installation of scour protection is what's going to be done there for the bridge abutments. It will address the possibility of the bridge not having to be replaced in the future. There's a concern that the erosion is compromising and could compromise the bridge over the next couple of years. This isn't paid attention to specifically the footings. These funds are for the construction and the designs. No, the design was provided last year. Apologies.
Remind me what scour is.
Can I kick that over to someone else?
It's the undermining of the footings. So it's on the downstream side. Sorry, the upstream side of the bridge. So as the water approaches, it ends up scouring out the footings. Is that right?
Like,
Yeah, it's the interaction between the fluid and the river and the loose material around the base of the footings. So
Washes
depending
away
on
the footings.
depending on the volume of flow, it can be more or less turbulent. It can have more or less of a damaging effect. The river bed and again the material that supports the footings. Can't give you a Reynolds number for that.
Is that what the riprap is for? And protected? I didn't know that.
Well, in some cases, riprap is to abate the scour problem.
I set that up.
Yeah, so I don't think they're using riprap for
I
that.
paused too long.
You had a moment.
Town hall.
Not at that.
Town hall has got a number of items, big ticket items. The first one we're talking about is the AC replacement. By the way, there's also an AC replacement going on over at police department. Ancillary comment is that if both projects move forward as they're expected to, there's some synergy by having them both done at the same time. I'm not clear if that has to do with equipment on site or what the synergy is, but a synergy was cited. Anyway, with respect to town hall, let's see, the Mather Center building control system is at the end of its useful life. It needs to be repaired. The parts and the software upgrades are becoming costly and very hard to obtain. Let's see, here's the reference to the police department.
Mark, has anyone ever considered getting same equipment manufacturer in order to mitigate that concern that you just brought up?
Well, that's what this talked about, was bringing in common software and controllers. So that's not the same entire system, which I think is what you're asking. But that's what this is talking about, is upgrading into apparently a common system. I took it to be the controllers.
It would be the automated system where they're able to do everything remotely, is what I think that is.
Okay.
What I'm asking about is the equipment in order, let's say, the new construction on any building, police department, town hall, trying to get like the same manufacturer with the motors, the blower motors, the condensing motors, all those are more like where they can stock them up. But if they start purchasing different brands, then we're gonna have different purchase of different equipment, which is gonna increase the value, the cost. The operating it.
I think that's a tremendous idea. I like that. It was not discussed, was not brought up.
I think we ought to suggest that at the next time we see him. And it should carry through to the schools as well. I don't know if with the building committees, they've ever compared notes to say, hey, let's make sure we're all getting trained or whatever. Yeah.
But they do know with train, for example, a lot of their motors are common motors that can be used from one equipment to the next and so on. It's just a way that we can keep an inventory in-house for emergency purposes, which can reduce the cost because it can be used frequently.
I think it's a great idea.
Is it worth asking, is that going on now? I mean,
Yeah, we have
That's just-
to learn about what the practice is.
I'd like to think it's already going on. That's not to say that the legacy is you work with what
And
you have
with
until it
building
dies.
committees, who knows? But
Right.
Good question. And it's really conceivable that, I mean, this is a decadal scale alignment, right? It's really conceivable that given whatever conditions there were at one time for a one building committee, there might have been a deal on, something that was quote non-standard that was too good to pass up.
I also think we could have buying power with that because if we're gonna show loyalty to one brand, we're able to purchase larger amounts. We're gonna have cheaper equipment.
I also think you'll get scale with the maintenance contracts. I like that a lot. Okay, so we're talking about the Mather Center controller system is actually what it's called. Talk about the PD. Also, there's apparently 2 of 5 hot water heaters not working in the Mather Center. Those are being replaced as well. And the big ticket items are, I think it's 30-ton units on the roof. East and west. Let's see, turn 320,000 is that each.
No, total 160,000 each.
Let's see.
You see on the roof of the east end.
Yeah, these two units have continued to need upgrades and repairs over the past few years. The system was repaired temporarily over the last 3 years, multiple times. I was hoping to hear that there was an operating cost savings. There was no operating cost savings cited. That's the second question I would think there is. How could it not
You
be?
mean like better efficiency?
Yeah, I would think so, right? Every new generation.
Yeah,
Should.
generally.
Well, they switched from Freon to.
Yeah, that's the
whatever
thing, is the
new
coolant.
Compliance.
Yeah, the new coolant is, and so there may have been some,
Propane based.
So,
so you may have lost some efficiency as a result of that because of the Freon. But good question.
So this isn't related to our budget, but in this conversation, there was some talk about, as I said, upgrading systems at the same time over the police station, which spiraled into a discussion about there's some ADA and upgrades being done to the entrance, which spiraled into, or is it worth doing these if we're going to think about a redesign of that building in the near future, which then spiraled into possibly consider replacing. So I share that with you. Nothing was decided. It was just sort of an interesting dialogue for a 10-year-old building.
That echo is reverberating more and more. I've heard it at least 3 times in the last 6
To
months.
replace that building.
To replace the building. The systems are so, they don't
Holy.
talk to one another. No, I'm just saying that
No.
nothing's been put forward.
So
There's $465,000 that is in the capital budget for a police department on top of the 400,000 that's in the public works budget. So there's close to $1 million of HVAC, AC related expense in just those 2 budgets this year.
that's what spawned the conversations.
Yeah.
How many more years are we gonna do this type of thing?
if my memory serves me, when they were having the discussions, there was an engineer who came before the board and said, who's working at the police station. And she said that there are a lot of different things in that building that are happening that I need time to look into and to get back to you with any sort of an idea of on an overall basis for the
Right.
building, what needs to be done. And that was easily a month ago. And I haven't heard,
Was that Board of Finance? It wasn't
no, that was with the Board of Selectmen.
a Board of Selectmen, okay.
And I haven't heard a feedback.
But there's no conclusion to that.
No.
In the 26-27 budget cycle. So we kind of have to let that run its course. The budget cycle we have is the one that's in front of us. And so if we avoid any costs in the future or change that to a big project, that'll be in next year's budget. Or in a special appropriation.
Patrick, I'm sorry, I don't see the 400,000 you mentioned in the public works budget for the police station. Or did I misunderstand?
No, that's not,
65 and 4.
No, that's not in our budget.
not our budget.
Okay.
I just mentioned it because it was somewhat affiliated. There was another item for renovation of the fire marshal office. There is a new additional staff. I think in the fire, which department is it? Emergency service. There's something has to do with there's an additional fire department staff,
Yeah, I think they took up
half person.
part-time person and made him full-time, and
Yeah,
they said we need some space
to
because.
support all the
we're gonna be
additional
full-time
inspections and things of
like
that nature.
And we've moved through kind of on a somewhat extended period, renovation of different offices of this building. So it's not all at once. It's a continual cycle. It seems like the fire marshal's office is up this year.
Next up, they've got an extra half person, needs a full office. So that's up for 75,000. On that similar theme, carpet in this building's been upgraded as opportunistic basis as well. And there's 50,000 budgeted for that. That's the second floor.
Because the first floor was done this year.
The gym entrance bridge is in need of a redesign and repair. 100,000 has been budgeted for that. The project will address the current deterioration. That's that sidewalk bridge going into 119 down there at the gym. Concrete spalling has been the issue. What we definition of spalling?
Sour when water's not involved.
Yes.
We have no gym, so we have the gym entrance bridge repair design in the budget for this coming year. In the 6-year capital plan, there's no gym entrance redesign or
Go
rebuild.
through the front door.
Right, so we're gonna look at it.
I'm glad you caught that, because I wrote design and repair. Now, I can't imagine you.
This says design though.
It says design is all the info. I
Gym
have.
entrance bridge repair design, although you could say repair and design. Maybe
Yes,
it's
there could just be
the design of the repair. I don't know.
Okay,
Okay, well, here you go. The rest of my description says the funds for the design are set aside in 2026.
Okay.
So that would be.
Yeah, it's right in
That's why.
yeah, there's 25,000 that was allocated in.
Yeah.
Well, this would be the repair then.
So this would be the repair.
This would be the
Okay, there we go. We copied it.
all through the repair.
Or just read my notes. We can debate it or I can read my notes. All right, so that's that. There was a small item for lighting upgrades. I did not realize that the parking lot here did not have to get an LED upgrade when we did the LEDs all those years ago. Here again, no cost savings was cited. There is,
Super small item, but was there any discussion of the gym floor resurface?
Yeah, I think it's in there.
So we're gonna spend $7,500 to resurface it and then replace it the next year.
Yeah, I questioned that with Ed last year. Cause he had like the
It
same.
might need it, I don't know, but it just
I
seemed
thought I
odd.
only did part,
But it's,
1 year and part.
yeah,
is that okay?
we've done it
That's fine.
recently over the last like 4 years.
I think it was
But there
separated
are,
into
there are
different
multiple
parts.
gyms.
Yeah, yes, I think that's right.
They both list as town hall gym. Anyway, it's not a huge dollar amount. It's just, it felt weird to me that we were gonna resurface it and later replace it.
and it didn't come up. I saw it and I did not connect it with the fact that we're resurfacing.
Honestly, if you can spend $7,500 and defer the $250,000 for a year.
That's probably
the interest
And that's what was done.
win.
I remember us doing that at one of the high school gym, middle school gym. If it gets surface, gets slick, safety issue comes up, resurface it until we fix it. I'm not saying that's what this is, but it wouldn't shock me.
Okay.
$7,500
So there's
gave us
logic
time
behind it.
to defer another capital item this year.
But also there is that bubble in that year of 27, 28 due to the
Salt box.
salt box thing on the bottom. So I can imagine that they're trying to accelerate things forward or move things back.
That's true, just a boy.
Ganging up there.
So next item is the Freightliner plow truck for $275,000. We're aware that the regular replacement of the fleet that's ongoing, there's a bit of a pause next year. If you look at the 6-year plan and then it starts back up again. Like we've heard before in this particular case, it's finding it difficult to find parts for this older equipment. It's more effective to plan out the replacements on a 10 to 15-year cycle, which is what's going on here. Yeah, the rest of it, repeat what I just said. Anything on that, Jeff?
That's, any comments on anything? I think the big comment in the 6-year plan, 6-year capital plan is the salt box investment next year, which is outlined at 6.7 million. In all likelihood, are there any missing investments? So salt box is here, Tilly Pond is not.
Well, that's a-
Well, it's for the following year.
3.4 the next year. The Tilly.
Oh,
Joe-
there it is, there it is. So
Oh,
it
you're
is,
talking about the
it
drain.
is there. So those are the only two major infrastructure projects that we have design phases ongoing. So we would plan for kind of a future repair phase. Those were the only ones that I was looking at.
It's not in this budget, so maybe it's off the table, but the Norotan Heights train station replacement, I thought I saw that.
It is, it comes up in the,
Whose budget is it?
it's in the,
Yeah, it's in the
Fund.
parking lot. It's in parking. Yeah, it's in parking.
it's in parts. We're gonna get to that.
$7 million and
That's
brings back 30.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
So that's not us.
We talked about the hardened dredging.
This could be a part.
That's
That's
it.
it.
for the,
That's it for capital budget.
So as far
I
as,
do want to say, and I can't, we're gonna get to it eventually later, but the 6-year plan, there was a lot of talk about, the items that these are not even to be viewed as placeholders necessarily for upcoming projects. It's not a comprehensive list of projects, but it is imperative that a project that might be eligible for certain grants.
Hmm.
Some grants look for projects to have been on the 6-year plan. So those are the projects that it's essential to be on this list. Everything from there is speculation and shouldn't be relied upon. It's,
Planning.
so it's, sounds like many of you already know that.
Or on someone to-
Yeah, but it's
But an eye towards that.
important to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frank.
yeah, I would just make 2 observations. One is that in terms of flooding, I'm glad to see Saltbox and the Tilly Grove drainage projects on there. We have in the past had very significant flooding on Heights Road, right? And I think we've been fortunate in the last 3-4 years, to my recollection, that there has not been anything catastrophic on Heights Road, especially since we've had the new developments that were put in the last couple of years. I don't know if that's been tested. So I guess I'm just flagging that as a risk, right? Because to the extent we do end up with, we've had in the 18 years I've been here, right? We've had, more than a few 100-year storms, right? So, if those 100-year storms are coming on that same frequency, we should probably expect within the next few years, right? And I'm hopeful that the infrastructure there will prove sufficient to the task. I think it remains to be seen how bad it can get.
Or how good.
Right, it hasn't been tested.
Right.
Thank heaven.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
So I guess I'm just flagging that as like, this is an open risk that
Well,
has been in part addressed, but we're not going to go.
and I
open up
think
the
when
fire.
thinking about the 6-year capital plan, one of the implications of that is we have salt blocks, which is flood mitigation. We have Tilly Pond Grove, which is flood mitigation. Flood mitigation, one of the leading issues for the town that we're continually investing in infrastructure to get better on. In the out years of our 6-year plan, there aren't investments that are currently known here, but I think we should anticipate that they'll exist. So there's a cycle of design and build that that we should keep in mind for those years. So it doesn't mean that our capital investment here is going to drop off in years 4, 5, and 6. It's simply a reflection of the fact of we don't know at this
We don't
point
have placeholders.
what those investments are. We're not going to put generic placeholders.
So my understanding of the capital planning strategy of the town is on the 6-year capital plan to only put known projects or the required placeholders for grants. There's not, the alternative strategy would be, in general, we think that there should be X in some project somewhere, and we're just going to drop a placeholder in there to have a sense of what the overall, that's not the strategy the town takes. So
Right.
just to say it out loud.
If I may,
Patrick.
this is I've had a problem ever since we've had to do these capital plans because it's a state requirement.
Mhm.
And it's not quite throwing darts at a board that says, yeah, let's throw something in there. But the strategy is that, precisely as Ian said, where we might anticipate that we might be able to apply for grants, because if it wasn't in a capital plan, it doesn't become eligible for grants. So that's the only reason, or the primary reason, why we're doing this capital plan. This will change because I have issues with, as you might expect, with the sidewalks. It's only showing 250,000 over 6 years.
That's my second point.
Yeah,
100%.
and so, but we don't know, but I'm surprised that we haven't put more in there because we've only held 2 meetings so far, but the anticipation is that we probably would apply for grants. So I'm a little surprised that's not bigger. So that would be my comment on this.
So the first selectman's response to that question, when last we asked him about this on sidewalks specifically, was we're waiting for the advisory team and let's not put extra numbers in there that we don't know about until we get the team up and running, and then the team will give us a vision of where we go. That was how
It's a known unknown.
that's how it was responded to.
Nice.
I think that as a committee, and I would put forth that we would comment on this fact that there is still no long-term plan for sidewalks.
In fact, I would amplify that and say, last year we felt strong enough that we rejected the capital plan because we felt we had no choice other than to do anything else to register our dissatisfaction with the low level investment in the sidewalks. And in fact, we see exactly the same fact pattern with this capital plan. And I struggle to see, as much as I don't want to go down that path, how do we avoid making the same choice this year for the exact same reason, to be consistent on the same issue?
So they're basically pushing it out a year.
No, they've actually increased. So the town's response in the capital plan to our discussion of sidewalks has been to increase significantly by 50%, 100%, I'd say. They've doubled their investment in sidewalks in next year's capital plan from 500,000 last year, from 250,000, 500,000 last year to $1 million this year.
Yes.
So there's been an actual response to say we are going to invest more in the short term. They have maintained approximately that 500,000 number for the subsequent year, but then it drops off to 150 and then
Oh,
100,000.
I see what you're talking about. Okay.
So I do acknowledge that there's been a response of creating the sidewalk advisory committee and allocating $500,000 more of funds to this. It's a material response.
So your issue isn't this year, it's over.
It's
As it was last year,
Yeah.
like the issue is that this is a long time.
Deja vu.
Exactly. And I think we struggled with this as a committee, and I think we didn't want to vote this down last year because of the message it would send. And I'm even more torn now because I'm appreciative that the amount of allocated money has doubled for sidewalks. I think that's a great move in the right direction. And I therefore struggle to figure out why it would drop off to $100,000 per year very quickly.
Well, so I just did, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I just said, I think I understand that, and I understand your frustration. I think we have to acknowledge, though, that a number of steps have been taken. They've hired a consultant. The selectmen have hired a consultant to brief or to advise and inform how to form or the issues to look at in developing new sidewalks. So, and then they form the committee.
Right.
So there have been steps taken. I don't think I would vote against this for that reason, because they are new developments by a town government just take time. They just take time. And these are steps all in the right direction. There are some things that never go fast enough. There are some things that, that don't go slow enough. So I would put this it's never going to go fast enough because there's a lot to do. The other second comment I'll make is the rehab budget. I think as we go through the committee, the sidewalk committee goes through the existing sidewalk plan or infrastructure, I'm pretty sure we're going to realize that there are some sidewalks there that need to be rehabbed, that are existing rehab, because they're only 2 feet wide and they should be I don't think we'll get to ADA on some of these, but we'll get to POAG on some of these, which is a slightly reduced federal standard. So I think we may actually end up with which is a long-winded way of saying we may end up moving the deck chairs around a little bit, but the ship's moving in the right direction. So I was in fully compliant with your point of view last year. I think this year I wouldn't vote against it for that reason.
Just to pile onto what Patrick's saying, as somebody who voted no last time, I feel like the town has listened and taken material steps forward. It may not be exactly what we want, but they did, they've raised the budget, they formed the committee's meeting, they've hired the consultant. And so, I don't know, I feel like we're moving in the right direction. I would also say on the rehab line, we talked to Ed about that. And he said, look, I need 2 years to kind of blow through the existing backlog, and then it drops because, a sidewalk has a much longer life cycle than a road. And so I can actually maintain at $100,000 a year, I can maintain the town at that level. So, because I was pushing Ed for why doesn't it look like the roads where it's a flat number, right? And I thought he had a pretty good answer.
From the aspect of timing, I would like to ask you, Mark, in your experience with the Board of Selectmen and the budgeting process, when do they start formulating the budget? When do they really start to put the numbers together?
I think the department heads more or less are doing it from when this budget's done.
Yeah.
And
If you look at some of the timestamps, the capital item attachments, go look at some of those, they're May, dated May.
Okay, last year we met with Ed in September.
in September, and he's at his suggestion that was the right time.
Right.
to be
And it may well be.
To be influencing the budget.
Right.
But that doesn't mean they didn't figure out they needed a truck in May.
Exactly.
Right, and he said that because if we meet in September, then that helps him because he starts really putting his numbers together in October for submit by no later than sometime in November to the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe I'm looking at this with a jaundiced eye, but that timing and the timing of the committee coming together by December 31st.
Is that coming together or conclusions?
Conclusions. And by the way, Ed is an ex officio member, so
Yeah.
he's going to attend nearly every meeting.
I understand, but your calendar is December 31st for any conclusions that are going to be presented to the Board of Selectmen.
Correct.
Right, because it is an advisory committee. Right, so then the Board of Selectmen says, okay, well, we'll work this into our agenda to look into it. And that can go into January.
Well, there's a lot more before that.
Okay,
The committee makes a recommendation. But the Board of Selectmen considers it, approves it, and I'm living this with GI, then you start the design and engineering. I don't know if these have to go out for bid, all that process.
excellent point.
Well, we asked that.
So the point I'm trying to make is,
I'm not saying, I'm not being
we're
critical.
going to be very well sitting here a year from now, having this very same conversation.
I would propose that in the commentary to the report on the 6-year capital budget, that we include an expectation that since this was we've made so much progress in the past year, that we would look forward to next year a revision to the long-term plan or impact from our current activities, i.e. the advisory committee on the long-term plan for sidewalks. Because we haven't seen one.
I don't think we should let up any pressure, quite honestly.
Isn't these consultant also supposed to be knowledgeable in coming up with Ed's participation as well, with some sort of guesstimate on?
The consultant has not been engaged yet on the committee yet.
Okay,
I think that the consultant we're meeting every other week. So there is a priority to this and we're pushing. There's a lot of work to do.
So nobody asked my opinion,
yeah,
but
I think it's.
Mark, I'd like to hear your opinion.
but I happen to think this is progress.
I know,
been on this
you've always
committee a
told me.
long time.
Government moves slowly.
Slowly. This is progress when things don't. The committee's been formed. It's not no prior meetings you've had, but it's okay. It's just a process. It's excruciatingly slow.
I would encourage all of you to please, I'm jumping ahead to our committee reports here, our focus reports. If you've got suggestions on anything having to do with sidewalks, we're not doing crosswalks yet. I don't know how you can do sidewalks without crosswalks, but we'll cross that crosswalk when you get there. We're not doing bike paths. We're not doing lighting and that sort of, it's just sidewalks. So, but if you have, and please mention it to everybody you know. I'm already starting to hear from folks.
When is the next meeting?
They
May
are,
7th,
May 7th, that's next Thursday, 9:30 a.m.
9:30 a.m.
You're all invited.
Next Thursday, 9:30 a.m.
Professional obligation.
But I believe the details, Frank, I think the May 22nd meeting is going to be in the evening, I think. So, no, and there's a big public comment element to this. We want to hear from.
So what I look for in a project like this is a deliberate strategy, which is presumably being formed and part of the committee. And then a deliberate, sustainable execution of that strategy. And so as we think about future forecasts, I'd like to think maintaining existing stock, improving the existing stock of sidewalks is all feathered in there. And then a deliberate deployment of any new sidewalk stock that comes out of the studies in the committee over a span of time, a continuum. Because it has to fit in the context of a very much broader budget. So that's how I think about it. And with that piece, with that mindset as the baseline, been in this town now 30 years plus. I've seen projects that seem like they took forever being bulldozed and rebuilt.
Yeah, and the reflection on like which ones were.
Urban Heights, where do you want to go?
And then Middlesex.
Middlesex.
Middlesex middle.
Okay, I'd like to propose it. So we've presented actually two things now. One is, and we have been explicitly by the Rules Committee not asked to vote on approved or not to approve the 6-year capital.
We've been.
Yes, it has been referred to us for our consideration. And so it is our choice to either comment on the 6-year capital plan or not to comment. There's no requirement. We don't have to pass it. There's nothing that is in fact.
So how are we going to present that the evening of the budget vote?
I would propose that, given our active interest in this, that we comment on the 6-year capital plan. And that our comments reflect what we've just discussed in terms of our I'll synthesize what we've just said.
We appreciate the progress.
It'll be focused around
Good luck.
continuing sidewalk investment.
Once I hear continuum, I'll be okay.
Yes, continuing.
I think we want to balance our appreciation for what's been accomplished with a little frustration that the longer term remains as murky as ever.
Hasn't been addressed, yes. And to note, over the long term, kind of wise foreseeing of the major projects we have coming up. Salt Box and Tilly Grove, and the continuous renovation of our stock of major pieces of equipment. So we've got
We have a consensus on how we feel.
I'd like to ask this, I'm looking for a motion. I can't make a motion.
I move that that the chairman synthesizes our comments on the 6-year capital plan and present those comments to the body.
The evening of.
Second.
I'll second that.
What is the synthesis?
I think it's what you just.
What are we synthesizing?
Our comments on the capital plan, on the concerns that we've expressed on sidewalks, on HVAC equipment at the police department, police building,
And town hall.
and we have recommendations for the Department of Public Works on the consistency of acquisition of parts as a way to contain costs and gain buying power.
I'm not going to sign up for
This is weird.
Vague, not vague.
Yeah.
An articulated motion. No, but I think you do a wonderful job. I think any one of us would do a wonderful job.
Sure.
I don't want to set the precedent of moving I like to think that everything I've ever voted on in this body has been a resolution somewhat defined.
Fair enough. I'll withdraw the motion.
Yeah. I think we should
But
comment.
you can still comment.
Yes.
I think what you just summed up, Jeff, was concise and right on point. So
Yeah, I have no issue.
as,
with that.
as just
Okay,
as
you're right.
Yeah,
you're
no issue with that
as-
at all.
No need for a vote, no need for,
Right.
commentary.
We trust you to correctly communicate the discussion, the comment that we had.
And if I fail to do that, then we'll.
But also, let's all recall, we're all members of the body. We're all
That's
taking
right.
account of the election. So
Yeah, any of us.
But I don't understand how, sorry, I don't understand how the RTM then is going to approve the 6-year capital plan if the committees are not.
Weighing
Well,
in.
in fairness, are we asked to approve a 6-year
Yeah.
capital plan? Or are we simply observing the 6-year capital plan?
Yeah, there is-
during the
We did
budget?
last year.
Yeah.
We didn't approve it, we just observed that one existed.
It would appear.
No, that's
Yeah.
what we
That's
did.
literally what it said.
And I'm
This year,
sorry, Jeff, but did they articulate any more than
Yeah.
just?
I was-
What you said.
I was paraphrasing that, so.
Okay.
Sorry,
That's the little weird
search.
Look,
That-
we just want to be in
that is-
compliance with the state.
That's it. We have to have one shared. It's
So
been
we-
shared.
Okay.
Acknowledge the existence.
They approve it.
So-
Yeah, that's
On the
pretty good.
6-year capital
We
plan,
acknowledge.
Public Works has reported, on the 6-year capital plan, Public Works has reported on this document in prior years. Committee can vote if desired. The request is solely that the committee has reviewed that the town has a 6-year capital plan for Public Works, not on the rest of the plan, nor that it includes all items, nor that it commits or approves any of the individual items of the plan. Any future items we've listed will require the Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance, RTM appropriation approval to become actual expenditure. If the Public Works Committee does wish to comment on the Public Works section of this resolution, please let me know prior to budget night. Otherwise,
All right, who is
we
me?
plan to have only F&B report on this resolution.
Is it set?
That's from Jack.
See, I knew it.
That doesn't.
That's way too many words for
I'm
you.
just gonna, there's no way. That's it. No,
Okay.
no.
That came from Jack
Yes.
Yeah.
Verbatim.
to all committee chairs?
No. This was
You
speaking,
were singled out.
this is speaking to Public Works.
Well, now, wait a minute. Now I have a good.
Election year.
So Public Works has commented on this before and has voted to not approve its or not endorse the 6-year capital plan. So it's up to the Public Works Committee as to whether we vote on a resolution regarding the 6-year capital plan, or that we simply comment on it and report on our deliberations of it.
I would suggest we comment and report on our deliberations.
I would
That's-
agree with that.
I'm kind of pissed off.
That's not good when you know.
I've never heard Paul say that.
I've often said, I don't want to see you all pissed.
I think he was
Over, that's a little
Out of
bit
bounds.
overreach there.
Yeah, I know Jack thinks he's a deputy board of finance here.
Yeah, well, I mean, we could move to admit or acknowledge the existence of the 6-year plan.
We don't
I'm not making a motion. I'm just saying we could.
We don't need to acknowledge it.
Public Work has reported in the past on this. It can vote if desired. So the Rules Committee, according to my understanding of this, referred the 6-year capital plan only to F&B. We are another committee, the RTM, we can comment on it.
Okay.
We can take.
Okay, all right, that's better context.
It was, so it was referred to F&B as a 6-year capital plan, that we have one, an acknowledgement. We, as the Public Works Committee, we have looked at in detail the 6-year capital plan, and we can comment on it, which is what the current plan is, or we can go ahead and vote on something more specific.
I don't feel obligated to vote because all the vote is just to acknowledge that it exists, which I don't think that's great.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's just go
with that, moving on
commentary.
to the first vote, our first budget vote of the evening is may I have a motion regarding the public works portion of the capital budget.
Right, right.
Motion to
What are you
Mark?
moving? What are we moving?
The capital.
You're moving to accept.
To acknowledge that it
Capital-
exists.
no,
No, I'm making a motion.
1 year.
I'm making a motion. I'm making a motion. Approve the capital, the 1 year,
The
26,
capital
27
request.
capital request for public works as presented.
Oh, okay.
For the
got it.
upcoming
Just the 1
fiscal
year.
year,
Just the 1 year
26,
capital.
27.
26 months.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second
Okay,
Frank seconds.
Okay, do we have any other commentary or questions regarding the capital budget?
Should we get back to sidewalks? No.
it. Didn't carry the one.
Okay, hearing none, let's move to vote. All those in approving of the capital budget.
Yeah,
Unanimous, kind of,
if I can interrupt, Jeff.
yes.
On the warning, the upcoming RTM A11, we have approval. 2607, approval of the fiscal 27 through 2032 capital improvement plan is presented in the proposed budget. Signed F and B. It is an item being voted on.
But when it is approved, when F and B reports on that, then we are all members of the RTM and we're able to make comments. All of us may feel stirred to make a comment on one line or another and both line.
But we as a committee will report on our commentary on the 6-year capital. plan
yes,
Right.
agreed,
Without a vote.
at least agreed by me.
Okay,
That's fine.
so we have.
I just want to be clear that there will be a vote.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, yes. Okay, we've adopted the capital plan. What's next on your list, Mark? The operating plan.
We'll go into
The
the
operating
operating
budget?
Yeah, we're gonna go through the operating, which ironically is shorter. Public works expenses are up 303,000 or 5.4%. Overall, my observation was nothing too materially different from previous years. Management and engineering was up only 1%. Roadway and walkway maintenance was up $60,767 or 2.8%, mostly related to wages. Although there was a bit of a move in electricity and ice control materials. Those were the bigger items. Waste management was up 8.7%, mostly related to larger volumes being processed. I guess we're still attractive to the haulers.
Well, the offsetting revenue is up much more than
We're
that.
gonna get to that.
You want to do this, you can do it. That's
Oh, bam.
That's out of order. Okay, public building maintenance, up 4.6%. Again, wages, electricity, there was some maintenance costs that were contributing to that. Parking operations maintenance is up 38.7%. Not sure why that's on this budget.
Hmm. Parking operations?
Yeah, I had merged a note here because I got operations separate. So
Yeah, I thought parking was a separate,
yeah, it is
But
separate.
it's not for
It's
the
not?
way that the budget is constructed because it is managed under the Department of Public Works.
Yeah, Coons lot. This is the Coons lot.
Yeah.
That's what's different here.
Yep.
Yep. I got it here. And there's also some additional costs related to, I guess, those CC credit card fees and electricity for that lot. We didn't have in the past. I think those are the big movers on the OpEx side. Go to revenues. See if we got any revenues. On the revenues, someone noted, waste up 24.9%. That's attributable to the higher tipping fees. And the usage by the haulers is also up. I got a number here of 520,000. I don't have it up there, 520,000. Revenues for recyclables went to zero. That's a reduction from last year of 180K. there was commentary about how that still results in us paying a bit less for our MSW. We get a credit, but we're not realizing anything for receivables as we have in past years. The parking operations and maintenance is up 397,000, and then this is due to revenue, sorry, is up. And this is due to Coons Lawn coming online. What that's tied to is the presumption that the $10 a day rate stays unchanged. I don't think they forecasted much change in usage either. I want to clear on that, but keeping the rate the same. It's 397,500. So there's your operating budget. Let me see if I got anything else.
But the overall is a 5.4%
In expense.
The expense.
in expense, yes.
Yeah, so our revenues increased, revenues increased by 900,000 in the current budget, and our costs increased by 300,000. So we reduced the burden on the town by $600,000 in the coming budget. Yeah, for public works, generally speaking.
Bonuses for everyone in public works right now.
I'm not sure there's another department that's done that.
No,
I might go back and look.
yeah.
That'd be a nice.
Parks and Rec folks.
Yes, well, they do, actually, yeah, it might be interesting on that.
And when you just offset our waste management revenue and our waste management costs. So one of the things we've asked the director of finance about in the past is whether the goal of financial management around public works should be that those two things offset each other. That the revenues from waste management equal the costs from waste management. And we come this year much, much closer to that, though we're not at that point. So waste management has a cost of 2.1 million and revenues of 1.7 million. So total waste management services for the town are a cost to the town of only $400,000.
Which is remarkable.
It's nearly free. It's nearly balanced.
That's a pretty good.
And it's significantly closer to balanced this year than it was last year.
It's like $20 a head in town.
Correct.
For a year, which is
Knowing as well that not tipping fees, but that access to the transfer station, et cetera, we're all paying that as well in one way or another based on our usage of it. So it's $20 plus the variableized portion.
Just for future reference, I wonder, this may be a very minor point, but with the increased usage and the increase of outside haulers dumping at our facility, whether or not they're building in enough maintenance, future maintenance. I mean, the scale's getting more use. Maybe it's just minor, but I think we should just keep that in the back of our minds because there's a lot more trucks going in and out of there. And we're not responsible for the compactor. So.
Well, it's built into the contract.
Right. Well, it'll come up in the in the next negotiation.
Yeah. So we have to be mindful that there's a cost to bringing in all this extra MSW.
Right. Okay, may I have a motion on the public works operating budget for 26-27, Patrick? 1 second. That is a motion to approve the budget as presented. Any further discussion, questions, commentary? Okay, putting it before the body. All those in favor of the motion to approve the public works operating budget for 26-27 passes unanimously.
Okay. Moving on. My favorite topic. Great Island Operating Fund.
Get comfortable, everybody.
Bio-breaking.
I heard that term for the first time last week. Great Island Grounds, Great Island Operating Fund is showing a reduction from last year of 14.2% or 48,335. $35,000 is attributable to more favorable terms. Reduction in ground maintenance contract, or ground maintenance. It's attributable to the new contract that was put in place last year. So I'll full year into that contract this year. There's a $16,800 reduction related to fuel heating. I know that several buildings have been brought offline and winterized or shut down. I believe that's attributable to those being offline for a year. I will note that I'm aware of one building that still has a tenant in it. I think it still has a tenant in it. So they're not all shut down, just for clarity. The reduction,
Mark, a question on
Yep.
that. There's zero rent anticipated in the coming year. So if we still have a tenant, no rent, that's interesting.
that lease is expiring in June, so unless it's renewed, I think.
I heard on a recent board of selectmen meeting that there was some discussion about the last tenant apparently has expressed an interest in stay on. So they might be having a renewal.
Okay. Let's see, so part of the reductions were offset partly by a $20,000 budgeted increase in facility maintenance and repairs. I will note that as far as revenues, going back to 2024, there were some ancillary revenues. I think it was a film permit or film revenue of some sort. Nothing's budgeted for revenues this year. So the net of all of this is that there is going to be a fund transfer from existing balance of 101 to cover a portion of the budget and 191,195 for the shortfall being made up from a transfer for the general fund. You'll have that budget up there, but give me a second to tell you if that's
It
greater.
is, right?
That's right.
Yeah. I just want to see if that's greater or less than last year. I don't have that.
So the contribution from fund balance is 101 in the coming year.
It's 114.
Goes, sorry, I see 264 last year. Am I right?
Oh, sorry, yes.
Yeah, I think that went down.
And then the general fund transfer, which is 191 in the coming fund, is up from 77
Yep.
last year. So
The
I'm
transfer
sorry,
from the general fund is the plug, right?
are those not just two different fungible sources of money?
I think the fund balance is what's left over from the prior year. That is what it is. I believe that's. Are they fungible? They're both government monies, if that's what you're thinking.
Right, so I guess the question is, we should just be looking at the expense side and managing expenses, because we're paying for it all.
Whatever's left, yeah, is a starting point, then you have fund shortfall with the fund balance. Transfer from the general fund.
Yeah, I guess I can't get into the shell game of like.
But that is,
Manage the expenses is the right answer.
manage or reduce the expenses. That pocket, right? We'll vote on all these at the end.
Let's go through them as they're topical, so we can do them
Can I
right
just ask
now.
a question to and I'm sorry, I haven't, this is the first time I'm looking at this. I'm just wondering, I'm trying to figure out what is the biggest driver of the decrease overall? It looks like the groundskeeping services.
Exactly. It's the groundskeeping services contract decreased by 35,000. And then when you add on top of that, the decrease in heating fuel, you're at a decrease of approximately 50,000, which is the net. Everything else is puts and takes.
Okay, thank you.
That's because we outsourced the groundkeeping. We were doing it ourselves.
I'm not sure we were ever doing all of it ourselves.
Was it Eastern Line? Eastern Line is doing it now?
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
No, because we've asked Ed whether it created a burden on his team, and he said, no. He's got a guy that kind of oversees and manages stuff, but it's not the town doing the groundskeeping.
Yeah, no, okay.
And for the first few years, I don't remember how many years it was, we kept
We kept the existing guys.
guys. So a transfer took place,
Yeah, yeah.
then there was a new contract negotiated.
Which increased their cost. Yeah. Okay, do I have a motion regarding the operating budget for Great Island? Yeah. We have a motion to approve, a second. Mark. So we have on the table a motion to approve the operating budget for Great Island. Any further comments, questions? Okay, moving to a vote. All those in favor of approving the budget for Great Island operating?
Unanimous.
Unanimous? Okay, we are now on to,
I feel guilty doing this one.
I'm sorry, something just occurred to me about grid update. As access, is this anticipating access?
In one regard, right?
Once, because access will open for the parking. Is that not
Oh.
until 20?
not until,
Yeah.
28?
You're not gonna-
You gotta.
so there might be a few months.
It was designed.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
Again, that whole things take time.
But I think for access is supposed to, that phase comes to a conclusion in April or May of 27.
27, okay.
Which means there's only an impact of a couple of months post access
Yeah, they might.
Although I'm curious,
In
what,
this budget.
in this budget.
were you thinking, once there's access, there'll be more, is your ongoing costs, or is your ongoing revenue, or just?
Well, yeah, the valets and, you know, the bus service and all of that. Where's that? I just want to see where that shows up.
On the revenue side, of course.
Sewer fund administration. Let's see, so. Of course, revenues are up 15.8%, expenses are up 15.8%. What you have as far as major items is there's a reduction in treatment fees paid to Stanford of $264,000. You'll see an offset if you're looking at the accounts. There's a transfer. This is resulting partly in a transfer to the sewer fund sewer capital fund balance of $230,000. So that savings is manifesting itself in an increase in the fund balance. There's a $704,000 increase in sewer collection fees. There's a $25,000. I can say all this if you're writing all this. I'll just have it to you.
I mean, I don't need every single number.
Just wanna cut and paste
but,
anyway.
Yeah.
$25,000 increase in sewer connection fees. I didn't see anything else noteworthy besides those 3-4 items. What we want to do capital as well at the same time. We'll
Let's do that.
go right into it. Okay, so sewer capital. My notes are telling me this is 310,000 CapEx items. 25,000. Notes are 25,000 for mainline cleaning, which is on a 10-year cycle. Got 125,000 related to replacement of equipment needed for emergency repairs. More than that. You got 50,000 related to pump replacements. And you've got 19,000 related to the routine chemical root control.
So, Mark,
Those
those are
are-
numbers
I'm on the wrong one.
for, those are all the numbers for the year that's ending now.
I'm on the wrong column.
Yeah.
We start over. Pump replacement, 75,000.
Oh, that's on there. Yeah.
Sewer maintenance, 25,000, thought of that one.
Controls,
Yep, root control 60. Not sure why that's up so much to be candid. Talked about the rehab and we talked about the equipment replacement.
So. Can I ask just what is the equipment replacement for 125,000 is more than we spent the entire last year on all the capital? And is there any specificity as to what that equipment is? If it's not pumps, because it's not pumps.
I thought I saw that it was the vacuum,
Is it? I didn't.
the vacuum truck. I think, don't quote me on that. I know I saw that somewhere.
I mean, I'll vote to approve any capital that Ed tells me the sewer system needs without question. So I'm not
Yeah.
in any way threatening not to do that.
That one I'm gonna
I'm
walk
just curious.
for. I watched 2 meetings and this was covered in the budget collaboration.
Got it.
And I wasn't there to ask.
No sweat. Thank you.
Okay, and so that's both sewer operating and sewer capital. Let's do both of those votes. And so, do I have a motion to adopt the sewer capital budget?
I'd be honored to.
A second? Any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion's on the table to approve the sewer capital budget for 26-27. All those in favor? Unanimous. I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the sewer operating fund budget. Patrick, second by Frank. Any further discussion? Motion on the table to approve the sewer operating budget for 26-27. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. And we are on to the long-awaited discussion of parking.
If you would bear with me, Jack, I thought I could see what that equipment was, because I was numbering yes as well. That's what I'm
I'm glad you went.
I know I saw it as well. I was calling, my notes, and we'll keep. Go back.
I'm not gonna listen to tonight.
Well, I will. Thank you for that. Really?
You know, good thing is equal will take things around.
All right, so parking, we're on parking operations fund. Operating expenses are 931,000 in aggregate, down less than 1%, 1%.
Yep, 27%.
Thank you. $8,000 increase in facilities maintenance, offset by $8,000 reduction in professional services. The increase is related to the assumption that the Darien Railroad elevator will be up and running. So there's been a little bit of an increase, assuming with maintenance associated with having the elevator running. There's an 8,000.
I'm sorry, is this the parking operating fund that you're looking at? I'm not seeing the numbers that you are, maybe.
Yeah, it's up here. So,
Oh, that's the capital.
no, this is operating.
Your capital improvement plan.
Oh, I don't hear.
Oh, but you were looking there.
No, I was looking at
You're not
what I
looking
thought
at the
was
operating?
I'm not, and maybe I'm just,
Are you seeing it too?
Yeah, I am, but I'm the only one in the room seeing it.
No, I'm seeing it, but I'm not looking at what you're presenting.
Wait, is it this one?
Yes.
Yes.
There we are.
See the
The
numbers.
two highlighted lines are the plus and the minus on facilities, professional services, and facilities that Mark just mentioned.
Did we get to employee healthcare? Employee line is up $10,000 related to healthcare for not money. Up at the top.
You want to show medical insurance or see 10,000 here,
Yeah.
employee benefits.
Revenue on permits is flat. Parking tickets are down 10,000, which I found interesting.
And we hire some trouble.
Why would it be down? I don't know. And then the rental expense is down. There are no concessions currently at either railroad stations, so nobody paying rent. I'll roll into parking capital is only one item. Surfacing drop-off area at the road nights wherever. So
There's a comment on that, that is paren state. What's that mean?
I don't think there's a state portion. I didn't see the comment nor did.
Yeah, that's about it. It's, oh. I don't know why. I'm supposed to.
Your screen's different?
Yeah, it is. So anyway,
Yeah, it says
never mind.
NHR resurface station drop-off area parent state.
Right, exactly. It's the paren state that threw me.
That's in the capital improvement.
Yeah.
plan. That's what you're talking about. Okay.
There's no state contribution.
So it may be on the state.
They named the state's gonna pay for it.
State law, that's,
On
yeah,
the
it's not,
state, on the state.
state law.
Okay. The other thing I think that's important here to note is the Neuro Knights station that is currently budgeted in fiscal 29-30, which is 7 million.
That's where it's.
So something that's coming down the pipe. But this year at 75,000 for total capital is. So
And just on the 6-year capital thing, and just back to the state, the Darien Railroad Station resurface of north and south lot, parent state says that as well.
Must be the state property then.
Must be, yeah.
Okay, I'll accept a motion to approve the parking fund operating budget for 26-27. Do I have a motion? Ian, a second? Mark? Any further questions on the on the operating budget and fund? Seeing none, the motion's on the table to approve the operating budget for parking fund for 26-27. All those in favor? And the motion passes unanimously. And I will take a motion to approve the capital budget for parking for 26-27. Do I have a motion? Frank? Do I have a second? Rolf? Any further questions or commentary on the parking capital budget? I have one. Mark, or is anyone aware of, we currently manage the town, we manage the Coons lot under the town budget because it's not a part of the parking fund. Is there a need for us to move or consolidate the Coons lot into the financial consideration of the whole parking fund, or is it critical that we keep them separate?
Yeah, there's no discussion of that. Are the others? Okay, we'll discuss. Are the other lots all on state property but owned by the town versus this one's owned by the town? Do we have other?
We have other town-owned
Yeah, we are.
parking lots, no question.
Right, but are they under the parking?
Yeah, under the parking fund, yeah.
So was that just a logistical thing because it was a quick thing? Quick decision or?
Because
Well,
I think it's,
we're
yeah.
talking about the next year, so if that was a quick thing. this is
Right,
permanent.
so, I mean, is that why it's separate? Do we think?
Or is it separate because it's town managed and may not always be a lot? Versus the others are, I don't know, once you go into the parking fund, are you permanently?
But you're permanently in parking lot.
Parking fund asset.
I guess you can't.
Yeah,
keep
I
moving
think
assets
they want
around.
to keep that.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think one, I just didn't know if anyone knew the answer to it, and it's not
That's a good
for us, we can't.
My intuition is that it's
It's confusing.
town property that actually has a
Yeah,
parking lot operated on it as opposed to our parking lot stock.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Zagorski's already intimated about possibly utilizing that in different ways.
Right.
So,
We have a motion on the table to adopt or to approve the parking capital budget for 26-27. All those in favor? Okay, it has approved unanimously. That concludes. Mark.
We cannot end. It is a sewer jetter and trailer for $125,000.
whoa.
Oh, so it's a cleaner.
Yes.
Do we get to play with that?
Sewer
We should.
For regular or emergency cleaning sanitary sewer pipes as needed using our own workforce instead of renting one.
Okay.
Now, you might see.
A sewer jetter and trailer.
You don't want to rent.
A new truck.
Well, you don't want to borrow your buddy.
It sounds like a
Jetter and trailer.
Trailer that's gonna be towed around.
The jetter is only on the trailer.
So the vac truck doesn't have a jetter on it, the one that we own?
You thought,
We're not, we're not leaving until we get. You had, we can get later.
All of it.
Jetter, but-
So
I
the
love the
vac
jetter.
truck
Yeah, I-
has the big hose in the front and
Yeah.
cleans out the catch basins. Also has the ability, if they purchase one, that has the jetter on it with the water tank and the nozzle and everything.
So let me ask a stupid question. What's the jetter? Like, what are
The jetter it's a hose.
It's like a power washer.
Water, exactly. And when you put the hoses in there and it has a nozzle, it pushes the hose in and then the nozzles are blowing back. So when you're pulling the hose back, it's cleaning the pipe at the same time, but it's bringing it out to you to where the hose goes in the ground and cleans up all the debris.
Okay, thank you.
So different nozzles are used for different types of pipes, versus lead or plastic pipe or anything like that. Although the strength behind it also pulls the debris, whether it's mud or it could be cooking grease that we throw on the drink.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
So anecdotally, I've seen the truck used to clean sewers regularly, it comes through on Holland Lane.
Right, they clean the catch basins.
But I've never seen them send a hose in or anything, but.
So, in my opinion, I would look into, or Ed, I can have a conversation on how much more life expectancy is there on the truck that we presently have? Because if that's an option that we have, maybe we should consider it in the future. Because having that much extra more equipment, it's probability of breakdown and everything else associated with it.
Yeah.
So the maintenance cost.
Because if you're using the jetter, you still have to back out.
Well, there we go. We're looking-
Thank you. We are.
Now we can.
Now we can move on. I left open our, in old business, our, discussion of our top area topics of interest, knowing that we are 90 minutes into our meeting. I would open the floor to any reports on activities in topics of interest. And so I'm not going to go around each person and ask them.
I've touched on my favorite topics, Great Island, sidewalks, budget.
Yeah, we've had a tour de force.
Yeah.
It's really the greatest hits of the last year.
Any
To read you on the 6-year plan.
Any
Again.
specific comments or updates from your topics of interest? Okay.
No.
Hearing none, I will accept the motion to adjourn. Perfect, Ian. And all those in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you.